show with Iron show with Iron show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. No Irish! No Irish! No Irish! No Irish! Irish! Yeah! Ooh, baby. So, anything happened in Notre Dame land since last time Johnny Boy went live? Anything at all? Oh, man. Welcome in, welcome back. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so here's the deal. Phil, what's going on? Jay Carr, what's going on? Johnny doesn't want to hear what's heard and seen this week. Okay, here's the deal. We got a lot to cover, and I have not been live in a week, and I feel horrible. You guys, I feel totally out of whack. I feel totally messed up. It is just, I feel completely disconnected from the whole thing. Not being with you guys is terrible. Even when some of you are terrible. Like, I just miss it, okay? And so I've been totally out of the loop, not able to do the live show, and a bunch of different stuff going on. We really need to get caught up. So we need to get caught up on a lot of things. And I need to share some of my opinion on some of the stuff going on and get it out there because we need to get caught up. It's bugging me that we haven't had our every other day. We're talking and everybody knows where everybody stands. We haven't had that. And I've been out of the loop. Matt Miller, thank you. Mark, thank you. I appreciate that too. Thank you very much. So we have a lot we need to go over, and we have a lot of callers. We have some drama. We have Notre Dame journalist malpractice is what it's called, Johnny. I don't know. But I need to get some things up. So it's been a week. It's been a long time. I need to throw out in the ether where I'm at with all this stuff. And it's just the most bizarre week, you guys, for me, with everything I had going on personally, everything like the new work responsibilities and everything that came with that. And then that all timed up with at home. My schedule was all messed up. I was home with my daughter when I wasn't in Notre Dame a couple times the last week. I was with her all day, not able to do the morning show. And then, so everything's out of whack. All the news, everything's out of whack. We need to recenter ourselves. Calm down, Johnny. Calm down. We need to recenter ourselves, okay? So I'm going to need a few minutes here to get everybody caught up, say what I need to say. We'll go to the calls. We have a lot of calls. Again, I haven't been live in a week. People need to get out what they need to get out. And this is the outlet for that. So I'm going to do the super chats that have just come in. Thank you guys very much. We're going to do the super chats that have just come in. And God help us. This is going to be an interesting next week. God help us all. We're on the verge here. We're on the verge here of some real problems in Notre Dame land. And we need to get it. We need to be able to figure out here what's reality and what isn't. So I'm going to do, oh man. Oh boy. Let's get into the super chats. I'm going to do what I need to do. Then we'll go to the callers and we'll see what's up. Okay. Oh man. $2 holler. When does the swimsuit issue come out? I don't know, but I can assure you, I don't think I'm going to be on it, but I do appreciate you referencing my new gig with Sports Illustrated. Happy to be there. We have a wonderful team. I trust everybody involved personally and professionally. It's going to be awesome. And we're already off to a good start. The numbers are good early. It's only been a couple days. We're going to get this thing cranked up. Okay. $20 holler from Omer TD. Love the positivity tonight. Congratulations on the new gig, John. Thank you very much, Tony. I always appreciate you. Fravel edits, $10 holler. Everybody needs to calm down. These people like Lloyd are not as connected as they once were when Tommy Reese and his dad were at ND. Deuce hasn't flipped, and a flip is not imminent. He will stick, in my opinion. That's an outlier compared to what the common narrative is, compared to the messages I'm getting 24/7, making all the remaining hair I have fall out of my dome. James, $5 holler with the 443. Thank you very much. Yeah, so Fravel, that's a lot more positive than what a lot of people are saying. $5 holler from the Andrew Gilmore. Not that happy, I would imagine. Waiting to deliver the I told you so, John. How are you going to answer for this one? Is what I'm sure Andrew Gilmore is going to say. Congratulations on SI. It's getting ugly on the recruiting front, but we need to turn the page. I'm going to get into that. John, at 20 straight losses, I'm selling the team, says Jerry Reinsdorf's burner. No. Jerry, you can't do that. Listen to me. Hear me out, Jerry. Okay? Hear me out. The record for most consecutive Major League Baseball losses in a row is 23. You're at what, 18 right now, going on 19? You're not stopping till we beat that record. If we're this bad and you have lost 18 games in a row, get to 25. Do something memorable. Break some records here. If you're already at 18, go ahead and get to 25 or something, all right? You're not doing this. You can't stop now. Don't stop now, boys. Push it. So get to 20. At least 20 is a good round number. I need the record. Get to 25. Give me 25. Oh, boy. All right. I want to be able to get to the callers as soon as I can. So let me get through what I need to get through. And again, bear with. It's only going to take me a couple minutes. I promise. But I got an excuse this time. I haven't been here in a week. Give me a damn break. Let me say what I need to say. First things first. Sorry, I have not been able to go live. The schedule's been messed up for a lot of different reasons, personal and professional. But we're through that now. We can get back on the regular schedule. So we will be back. We will be ready to go. We're doing this show. We're going to be back Monday morning with the call-in show. We're getting back on our regular schedule. So have no worries. You'll have your outlet and your morning fix. You know what means a lot to me, you guys? A lot of people touch base with me and throughout the week on Twitter, email, or text or whatever and said, John, you don't know what you had until it's gone. And they said, I don't like not having you in the morning. I can have you on in the background at work, or you're my entertainment or whatever. That means a lot to me. Yak says the Speedo issue, Buzz his girlfriend. Woof, bro. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that, I can assure you. Although I will say I've been gaining weight back. I'm not as skinny as I was last year. I'm gaining weight back. Depending on how this next couple weeks go in Notre Dame recruiting. Let's see. Next, the Speedo issue. That's a good one. Oh, man. All right. The next thing is, thank you. Sincerely, thank you to everybody that's reached out, congratulated me for the Sports Illustrated thing. 102. I'm getting near to 150. Give me a break. I'm getting near that 150. Okay. At one time in graduate school, I was almost 190, and it wasn't muscle. It was grad school. Eating terrible, not working out, like living in the city, drinking every weekend, eating fat in the big city, not doing much. I believe it or not, I was pushing. I almost got up to 190 in grad school. I was just sitting around doing homework like a nerd, not working out, not eating right, and drinking a lot. I seriously was pushing it. And then I said, never again. You're a slob. Pull your life together. Never again. Anyways, thanks to everybody that congratulated me for the Sports Illustrated. Phil can verify that. I did smash an entire pizza at Barnaby's. It wasn't like an extra large, whatever. It was a personal one, but I did down that all and a bunch of beers. I was hungry. But Phil and Erica can verify. I ate all that thing. And it was cheese only, by the way. It was cheese only. Do I work out? Yeah, now my workout's pushing the lawnmower. Kidding me? Thanks to everybody that congratulated me for the Sports Illustrated partnership. I really, really appreciate it. It's a big opportunity, a big platform with a big footprint. And dude, Barnaby's is so good. That is like my new favorite place. I like the setup. No waitresses or nothing. You go up there, bring him your order. You want beer, you go up there, bring him your pitcher. The pizza's so good. Something about how they cook it or whatever. 924, your pizza's a bore. That was my number. Erica, you're good. Eric and I were sitting there trying to come up with rhymes for every single number like I do the call-in. And I wanted that to just be my job for the night to help with the pizza place. They were so busy, and I wanted to be the guy to make a rhyme for every number for the order. I just think it's the most fun job. Anyways, 924, your pizza's a bore because it was all cheese. Something about the way they make it. With the bottom, it's like airy and crispy. I don't know, but I loved it. It's like my favorite place to go in South Bend. I really recommend it. Barnaby's, hit it up. Sincere thank you to everybody. And this is a big opportunity. And I want you to know, none of this happens without you guys. Like, none of this stuff happens. This opportunity does not arrive to me. I don't get approached for this opportunity and have a chance to even consider an opportunity of this size without you guys, without you viewers, people watching, people interacting, having a brand. Even the tailgate stuff helps. Like, just people know that people know you and people know of your work. So I really want to thank you guys for supporting the content over the years. Even the people know I'm not going to be at the Northern game. Miami, Ohio is going to be the tailgate game. And I don't know what else. And whatever else will probably be in the press box and not like drinking in the parking lot all day because I have different obligations now. And it may be more of like a professional thing. But the Miami, Ohio one out in the parking lot with the people, if I come back for another one, it's probably going to be in a more professional capacity from now on. But I still need to do my fun one. And then I think I need to get into more of the press box routine. The only issue with that is you can't go live and do this show afterwards. So I want to be there to cover it and feel the energy. But I also want to be with you guys. And this is like my bread and butter, and I don't want to give it up. So there's a weird little back and forth there that I got to figure out and find the right routine with because I don't want to give this up. And it's just hard for me to like, yeah, it's cool to be there and be able to do the professional media thing. But I love doing this. And like, this is where I want to be. So I'm going to have to figure that out. And that's an ongoing thing. But Miami, Ohio, we're going to be there and it's going to be fun. That's going to be a big tailgate. We got a lot of people. I don't think so, Blyberg. There's a lot of people. So here's the deal. Just thank you. Yeah, I don't think everybody was thrilled to see Johnny in the old press meeting. I just don't. I don't think everybody was thrilled. So that's just the way it is. And I love it. It's beautiful. $50 olive from Donnie. You're my main man, Donnie. I love you. Thank you very much, man. You've always been there. And the first time I met Donnie in that parking lot at the old Sammy Artman signing, he was just such a nice guy. It was really, really beautiful. Who was happy to see me? That's a good question, Jay Carr. I'll be honest. The local NBC, NDU, NBC crowd, we had lunch with. There was all these tables, and me and Nick sat with that local NBC crew. They were a delight. All of them were they were awesome to talk to. And then all the blue and gold guys were awesome. Singer was not there, but Kelly was there. The younger dudes was there. It was really fun talking to those guys. They were going golfing after the event, and I was jealous of that. They were really, really nice and cool to talk to. And so I had a really good conversation with those guys about content and different ways to do this stuff. And they were all really, really welcoming, really, really nice. We had a really fun conversation with those blue and gold guys. They were legitimately really nice guys to meet face to face. And Singer wasn't there, but the other representatives you see there were. It was really good to talk to them. Cool guys. Couldn't have been more welcoming. So that was very nice of them. But again, thank you to everyone. All right. Now let's get into this. Let's get into this real quick. And then I'm going to give the callers the time because we need to get caught up. So here's where I'm going to start. I feel very, very conflicted. Okay. I feel very, very conflicted. I want to be fully bought in and excited into 2024 and how good this team could and should be this year on the field. We have a chance to have a really, really good football team. Cotter checked in with me from the country club, from the golf course. He checked in right before the show. I sent him the link. He was going to go home, eat some food. He might plug in a little bit, but he was at the golf course still. He might jump in here in a little bit, so he'll be around. Here's what I mean by conflicted. I want to be fully bought into 2024 and how good this team could and should be, but I admit my emotions are being dragged down by the recruiting rumors, and I want to be very, very clear. Very clear. My understanding is nothing is official. And until it's official, I do not want to get too far ahead of ourselves. There's conflicting reports depending on who you talk to about all this stuff, in which way it's going to go and when and all this different kind of business, okay? That being said, the rumors about Deuce are the worst case scenario for the program practically and perceptually and for Freeman, okay? There's no way around that. If it happens, the 25 class and all the momentum is destroyed. And there's no sugarcoating it. There's no wiggling around it. There's no shamrocks and rainbows. John, look at the bright side. There is not. There's not. Okay? You're not going to rationalize your way out of this one. You can't lose your top defensive player to Michigan, your elite quarterback, land no good receivers, and then call it a success. You can't. So as much as it hurts and as much as we won't like that and as much as you don't want to think whatever, there's no feeling better about that. If it ends up happening and it hasn't happened yet, and there's some people in here that don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it happened either. I don't want it to happen or whatever, but it hasn't happened yet. But I'm going to tell you what. Commander Luke saying, come on, man. Again, Commander, there's nothing I can ever say that satisfies you. There's nothing I could ever say. I just went on a rant saying if it happens, there's no way around what a disaster it is, and that's still not good enough for you. What do you want me to do? You want me to light my computer on fire? Like, I just don't understand what you want me to do. I just said if it happens, it's a nightmare, and there's no way to wiggle around it. That's not good enough for you. What do I got to do? Literally light myself on fire to prove to you that it'd be bad? I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, what do I got to do? You can't lose your top defensive guy, your elite quarterback, land none of these receivers, and then call it a success. It ain't going to happen. So I am very, very conflicted, and I'm stuck in between. I'm excited for this year. We have a really, really great opportunity to have a great team on the field, but I am terrified for what's going to happen if this next recruiting block falls, which is Deuce out. That's rough. That's rough. There is no wiggling around that. And I've heard a lot of different things, like I don't know what else Freeman could do. You know, if you get blindsided by something or somebody's entourage is angling or they're not telling the full truth or whatever. Like, I've been hearing all these different things. The bottom line is, man, you either listen, nobody cares at the end of the day. You either get guys and they play for you, or you don't get guys and they play against you. Isn't that the bottom line? And when you get guys, man, you get credit for it. Even if they would come, no matter who the coach is, because they love Notre Dame, you get credit for it if you're the coach. And when they don't come, you're going to get dinged for that. Okay? So that would just be really, really tough. And the other thing is, if this happens, where do you even go then in 25 for quarterback? And that changes the whole scene at quarterback. And the whole way I'm looking at this whole thing changes. That's the other part of this. And then I'll go to the calls. There's a lot of you. Wait, let me take a look at something. Angela, good to see you. All right. I would imagine because of what we have going on, there's a lot of calls. We're going to have to move quicker tonight. I'm just telling you, Pete, we're going to have to get to our main points, keep it moving. That is the number one complaint I had with the call-in show last season is you give too many people too much time, and I got to check out because it gets boring when it's the same guy going on a 15-minute monologue. When it's May or June on a Wednesday morning, you could do that. We only maybe have 3 callers a show sometimes. When we got a bunch, you got to get to your main points, keep it rolling like a real radio show. So when I'm done with my monologue, you guys will have a chance to do that. Please keep that in mind. Keep it moving. And I don't want to have to, wrap you up and move you to get the old hook. So try and keep it moving. The timer, I thought of doing that, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to do it. Just get to your main points, keep it moving, but just understand the situation. This ain't a random Monday in June and there's 2 people on the line and you could talk your heart out. So we're going to keep it moving. So it's a rough spot to be. And here's where I'm going at. Okay, you might have to go to the portal or whatever, but here's what I'm talking about. What changes in my mind. If you don't have Deuce and then you have Riley Leonard and then he's done, and you're just automatically going to ride with Angeli as the number 2, who I don't care what any of you say, he's the least physically gifted as far as the potential on the high side athletically of the quarterbacks that are involved in the program. He is. I know people love him. Stevie, I know people love him. Ultimate program guy, people love him. I respect the hell out of Steve Angeli too. To me, physically, he's got the least high ceiling of anybody we're talking about in this quarterback room. If you're just going to run with him as number 2 no matter what, you're bound to piss off one of those other guys that isn't going to stay, whether it could be Carr or Minchie. Then you're not going to have Deuce. Now you saying we solved the quarterback problem, you didn't. And your depth is tedious. You got to start thinking of this whole quarterback thing different if this fallout happens. If this happens and you lose Deuce out of this class, again, I'm not wrapping that up as a done deal. I'm open to that not happening. Freeman saves it. The guy comes around. I'm open to that. I know everybody's got a board that says something or their guy told them this and this and that. I don't know. But all I'm saying is you got to rethink what you're doing in this quarterback room if the setup's going to change this significantly. And you feel like you have all this depth, you're not. So it's iffy. If you want to push the least high side possible guy as the number 2 here, just to do it because he has all the experience. 2 games more than the other guys? He's been in the program longer, but he only has a couple more actual games of experience. If you're doing that, it's dangerous. You're about to go from we fixed the Notre Dame quarterback problem, we have all this depth and different rolls of the dice to have one hit, to you don't have that kind of depth and flexibility. You better be I'm just telling you, you better be careful how you navigate this. Now, here's the other thing I want to say. James saying, Casket, you're darn right. You want to know something? This is how things go for John in his life, his Notre Dame life. Then I'm going to the calls. Deuce is Deuce. If you want to talk about it, we could talk about it. I also want to talk about camp. Let's not forget, camp is open. And I want to talk about what you like so far, what makes you nervous so far, whatever it is. I want to know what you guys think. So let me know about camp too, or if you want to make it about Deuce. It is extremely frustrating to me too, especially if it ends up being Auburn and Hugh Freeze. It's like you have Freeman, this family man who does things the right way, ultra respectful, like the ultimate family man, converts to Catholicism, lives on the straight and narrow. And you have Deuce. You would think like a young African-American kid, the parents would want him, if he's leaving the region, to go under an ecosystem where he could learn from a guy that you could learn from that has those characteristics, and he could kind of mentor him. It seems like a very comfortable mentorship there. No. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go with the guy who's got the escort call-in thing on the cell phone that was given to him by the school. He's got the escorts on line 1. That's what we're doing. We're going with the escort guy and the guy with 15 level 1 violations and a show cause for a year and who got fired for having the escorts as saved as his safety, in case of emergency, call this escort line. That is so frustrating to me, man. It's so frustrating to me. And it's just like, it drives me insane that you have Freeman there, the perfect role model for this young black kid from the South that can learn from Freeman how to like be this classy guy. It all made sense to me of like how this could work. No, we're going with the escort guy. 12 times he said he accidentally called the escort service from the school-issued cell phone. Oops. I don't know how that happened. You got any blondes? I'm feeling like a brunette tonight. What do we got? You got any Asians? I just can't. The concept that the family even would be like, yeah, that's who I entrust with my son. He's going to be the perfect role model and help him. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. It just drives me crazy. It blows my mind. Like the priorities here are hilarious. It's just like, man, I just don't get it. I just can't wrap my mind around it. Oh, it's just so funny. And the other thing is too, he was at Ole Miss. What a mess. I'm just imagining, like, I don't think you're getting the classy of the classiest either when it's the best ones in Mississippi. Oh my God, Hugh. Woo! John, did you drink any alcohol tonight? Not a bit. This is all natural, baby. I do not drink when I do this show. That would be irresponsible. 0%. None. This is water. H2O. Not H2O2. That's different. All right. Couple more super chats. I'll get it into the phones. I didn't even get into camp. I want to give you guys your time. I've gone 25 minutes already. You need your time. Keep in mind, keep it moving so we could give everybody a shot. $5 Ryan Elliott. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Erica, $5. Which is more interesting, Johnny in the SI swimsuit or 25 ND wide receiver recruiting? Well, I would say me in the swimsuit's more interesting because there ain't nothing happened with the 25 recruiting. So by default, I'm saying I'm more interesting. At least something would be happening. There's nothing happening with the 25 ND wide receiver recruiting. So by default, me in the Borat swimsuit, very nice. That's going to be more interesting just by default. Oh, $10 by Kevin Elliott. Thank you very much, man. And I caught up with my Donnie White. Didn't even finish the intro. Yeah, tell me about it. Pat says this show sucks without me. Yeah, I know, man. Tell me about it. Man. Donnie, you're the big donator. We'll do you first. And Pete, I got you. Fravel, everybody else. We're going to get everybody in. Andrew, I'm going to get all you guys. The big donator, Donnie, gets the guy. I think he's 765. I'm pretty sure. I hope it's you. Is this you, Donnie? What's going on?
Hey, John. Congratulations on the SI.
Oh, thank you. It is you. I knew your area code. Hey, thank you, my friend. I'm telling you, it's a big opportunity, man. I'm really excited about it and ready to get to work. We have a good team. It's going to be a good year, and it's going to be exciting, man. Thank you.
Well, if anybody deserves it, I think it's you, man.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Donnie, there's a lot going on. I really want to know what you think about maybe the rumors with our recruiting class. And then here's the topics for the callers. What you make of the rumors at the top of this recruiting class, and what do you make of early camp? I would like to know everybody's thoughts on both of those items. So what do you got, Donnie?
Well, first of all, John, I'm kind of disappointed it took you that long to get over to Barnaby's. I've been going there since 1970, and the crust is actually a cornbread crust.
Dude, it's so
cornmeal crust.
Donnie, is that why it's different? It's so good. It's crispy as could be. It's so good. It's like my new favorite place I go every time I'm in town now. I absolutely love it. I can't recommend it enough. I like the dark feel in there. It's kind of vintagey, and now you get to go up and order on your own. It's all the vibe. I love it, Donnie. It's fantastic. I love it.
It is a great place. And John, just to let you know, they do what's called half-baked pizzas. They bake them halfway. You can take them home and you finish baking them the rest of the way, and they're just as good as when you're sitting there.
Oh, wow. Dude, I'm telling you, it's a revelation. And we sat there for 4 hours. We were eating and drinking, and it was a lot of fun, man. So we had a great time. So, yeah, I recommend everybody to go there.
Oh, yeah, it's an awesome place. Anyway, so, John, I'm going to, this quarterback thing, and the recruiting. Who was our last Heisman? Who was the last Heisman at Notre Dame?
Timmy Brown.
Timmy Brown, 88. Who was the quarterback in 88?
I just want to know if you liked my Tony Roberts impression there. Timmy Brown. Yeah, it would have been your man, Mr. Rice, who was a pull from the South, not a Notre Dame fit, blended with the right coach, and look how it worked out for him.
And John, there was a game, and it was on ABC, or it might have been CBS. I think it was ABC though. Anyway, Dockery was going through, and he was saying, so here's what Lou did, because Tony's such a bad passer. He was a great quarterback. He could run that option like nobody else, but he could not throw. I would put his stats, they were low. His stats were low. So he said what Lou did was he bought him a dartboard, and at night he had to throw darts at that dartboard to try to get the feel of his passes. Lou, and they talked about that 3 or 4 times during that game. They went back to it. Every time he completed a pass, they said, "Oh, it's a dartboard." So here's what I'm saying, John. With Leonard, we don't have to have a great quarterback to bring these receivers in. Unless things have changed that much, and I think the NIL is really, really, really driving this thing. The more I, think about the NIL, I think NIL is driving this thing. But we had Tony Rice as a quarterback, and we had a Heisman Trophy winner, Tim Brown. I want everybody just to sit back for a second and think about that. We got to get some dudes in there, wide receiver. They got to do a better job at selling. And didn't they say, did I hear this correctly, that Notre Dame said that they were going to match any NIL that Deuce Knight could possibly get?
Listen, I have been assured from every different person that I talk to that has knowledge of this behind the scenes, I have been assured money is not a problem. And if Notre Dame really wants a guy, they are willing to pay up or match or whatever. With Meadows, the receiver that went with Kelly eventually, I was told that was not the issue. Notre Dame was right in there with money, willing to pay or match whatever. I have been assured repeatedly from behind the scenes that the money is not the issue now. And if Notre Dame really wants a guy, they're willing to match and pay. So I don't know.
Yeah, as flamboyant and as cool as Marcus Freeman is, you would think these guys would just, fall over backwards to be coached by him. Is it the secondary coaches, or what's turning these guys off?
Is some of it just what has Notre Dame done to highlight wide receivers? We don't have a huge recent pipeline to the NFL. And maybe that's just like Notre Dame's offenses have not highlighted and utilized wide receivers very much. So maybe people are in their heads going, why do you want to go there? They don't even highlight wide receivers and let them ball out and highlight them and let them run around. The offenses have been boring. But the issue I have with that is...
John, we didn't do that in 88 either.
Here's the issue I'm having with it now is that argument made a lot more sense when it was Parker drowning, having no clue how to run an offense, and he was totally overwhelmed. You have Denbrock coming in here who just came off a Heisman year and the highest scoring offense in America. So I would like to think that you could sell that this is all going to look different and be more exciting. And we're going to highlight the wide receivers more. This offense is going to be more exciting and all that stuff. And I just kind of feel like you should be able to sell that. Now, if it was still Parker, I would be worried because that offense was bland for averaging 39.5 points. It was about as bland as it could possibly be. And we all know that point total went down when you faced a good defense. But I think that's what's being used against Notre Dame a lot is like, dude, what have they done to put a bunch of receivers in the league and to highlight them in an offense? And Notre Dame has not done a good job of that lately. It's hard to sell Ben Skoranek as like one of your last NFL receivers, man. It's just tough.
So you may have just hit on something, John. Do you think the negative recruiting is outselling the positive recruiting at Notre Dame?
I think there's a lot of negative recruiting on Notre Dame. There really is. I just think there is. I just think there is. I don't think the money is a huge deal. I just think there's other stuff that people are getting shying away on Notre Dame on or something. And with the wide receivers, I don't know, man. Maybe it was like, maybe it's just what have they done lately with their offense to highlight wide receivers? Why do you want to go there? They don't highlight them. Maybe it's that simple. And I agree with it, but I think it's going to start to change. But I kind of agree with it recently.
Yeah. So, okay. So I know you got a lot of callers. So I got one more point that I want to bring up here. We've been talking, you and I have been talking about our man Evan, and it looks like he's going to be ready to go.
You know what? I'm going to double that. It's not only about Evans, it's about Raridan and Evans. If both of those guys are ready to go, that is a mismatch nightmare all over the field. On 3rd and 4th down and in the red zone, that is an absolute nightmare. So it's not just about Evans. If Raridan could be healthy too, that is a matchup freaking nightmare.
I agree.
I love that, man. I love that.
I hit both your points. I'm going to jump off here. But, John, we just got to take a deep breath. As one Catholic to another, we got Our Lady on the Dome watching over this university. It's all going to be okay.
She's still there. She's still there. I was just there this week. She's still there. She's still shining. She's still shining. Donnie, I really appreciate you, man. Every time you're on here, you drop me a 50 spot to cover these phone lines, and I really appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much, and I really hope I see you at the tailgate for Miami, Ohio.
Oh, we'll be there, John.
Beautiful.
Take care. Have a great call.
Thanks a lot. Really appreciate you. I was going to say, everybody that's on the line, I'll get to you. Hold on here. I was going to say, the way that it goes for me in my life, my Notre Dame life, check this out. I come home from the Notre Dame media event right before we make the public announcement that we're doing this Sports Illustrated thing, and I'm all excited. I had a great day at Notre Dame, did the media event thing, got to hang out in the press box. I know that's not a big deal for people who've been doing it a bunch of years, but for me, that was like the ultimate come up. From being in, banging on my counter at the old office job all the way up to that literal press box. It was a big deal for me. I drive home with a big smile on my face, the 2-hour drive, and I pull into the driveway. I'm in a great mood. I'm like, man, this is awesome. The season's getting started. This is going to be great. I pull in the driveway and I look at my phone and it's 900 text messages and nightmare about Deuce. It is the ultimate Notre Dame like existence. It's just right when I get all high and I'm excited. Right when I get all excited, boom, I open my phone and it's nothing but nightmare messages. Do you know how many texts I got that just said worst case scenario? That's all it said. Worst case scenario. Just, it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. Oh, man. $10 holler from my main man, Renee here, Martinez. Johnny, glad to have you back. How was campus? Campus was beautiful. It was hot and toasty, but I loved it. Thanks for the videos, buddy. No problem. It was good to visit Rockney's grave, honor him. It was good to go to it was really good to get over to that little spot with the crucifix in the woods. I always tell you guys about. That was beautiful too. And so it was really enjoyable. And then literally I pull in the driveway and it's a million texts. Worst case scenario, nightmare scenario, bro. Only in Notre Dame land. Like right when I'm feeling really good about things. That's just the way it goes, man. It's a Notre Dame life. It's a Notre Dame life, bro. I don't know. It's just rough. Oh, 815. And then Pete, I got you. and everybody else, you're all coming up. Andrew, the 574-937-559 is going to be all worked up. I'll get everybody going. 815 Fravel, what's going on, man? You have a different take than most people. You got to walk us through this.
Yeah, man. So, by the way, I wanted to say congrats, John, on the new job and everything. I hope everything works out at Sports Illustrated.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. You have a different take. You are a contrarian on this. In the chat, you are a contrarian. So I would give you the floor.
Yeah. So, like you had said, and like everybody else that that I've talked to, money's not the thing. I know a lot of people are like, oh well, Auburn's dropping money bags. Ole Miss is dropping money bags. Notre Dame because of money. That's not an issue. The Derek Meadows thing, we didn't lose Meadows because of money either.
Yep. That's what I heard as well.
Preferred to go to LSU.
Yep, that's what I heard as well for a bunch of different reasons. That's what I heard. Yep.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with a kid looking at Notre Dame's offense and saying, you know what, the last receiver was Ben Skowronek in 2021. Why would I go there? It's not proven. I get that. Quarterback, same thing. But with Deuce, it's a little different. I think there are a lot of narratives being pushed from SEC country, rumors that are being floated around, and a lot of pressure is being put on the 17-year-old kid to stay in that area. That's where I think this is all coming from. I think the stuff, that some of these writers are putting out, I don't think that they're as credible as they once were. I know Tommy Rees and his dad were a big part of what leaks got out to the Notre Dame media when they were at Notre Dame. Specifically, like some of these guys, when they got to be national status, I don't think they've been as credible as they used to be. The Deuce Knight stuff's been pushed by 247 specifically for the last few months now. I don't know if you remember, but our fan base kind of had the same reaction when Ole Miss beat writers were putting in crystal balls for Deuce Knight to flip 2 months ago, all because he took a visit to an Ole Miss practice that wasn't an unofficial or an official visit. Just he happened to have friends on the Ole Miss football team while he was in Oxford for the Elite 11 regional. That got blew into, he's flipping, he's going to Ole Miss. I don't think he flips. Now, could he? Yeah, I think the pressure is real. Which sucks because I think these 17-year-old kids, they should be able to make decisions themselves. That's not what happens a lot of times.
Okay. All right. Now wait, time out.
Yep,
Time out.
yep.
Okay. Totally understand it. On the Patreon a few weeks ago, Goolsby went into this and he said, John, I don't think you or I can relate to the scenario of being an African-American kid in this part of the country with this skill set and all this pressure to not leave the South and what it means to be an SEC football player. And he has all those traits and it all lines up. And you're going to be the one that bucks that trend and does all this and leaves. And you're too good. Think about it. You're too good from where you're from and all that. And you're going to leave and go up north and be one of them uppity Notre Dame people, all that kind of pressure that gets put on a kid and all that. But then it's like, dude, somebody's got to keep him on the track enough to just be like, man, once you get to Notre Dame, it'll all be different. You're not going to be down there with your friends and everybody giving you crap all the time. Get up to Notre Dame. You'll have that new support system and all that stuff that will. And you have Marcus Freeman to lean on and that relationship that's been built over the years. And he's a good role model and a good mentor and all that and an upstanding guy. And it's just, I want to know, like, where's the support system in this? Being like, you love Notre Dame for this long. Where did it go wrong? All of a sudden, you've had this relationship for that long, trying to recruit other guys, trying to recruit Meadows. He was the one on Instagram and Twitter saying it's not over with Meadows and all this stuff. Like, you're doing all that. All the times he went to Notre Dame, all the relationship building with Freeman and all that. And now it's just it's just thrown away. Like, I have a really hard time making that all calculate in my stupid brain.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. It just doesn't make sense. And like you had said, John, what I said, if it's not money, then the big change of heart all of a sudden and him being at Auburn for one day, that's a big turnaround. Don't you think? For being committed to a school for almost a year. You picked Notre Dame over the likes of Ole Miss, Auburn originally to begin with. So what has changed since his commitment last fall?
Yeah.
I mean, and I get the whole, I get what he had said before when he would ask, why are you still talking to these schools? Because with transport and everything, you don't want to burn those bridges. I understood it. I know some people in the fan base were like, well, then he's just not committed. Why commit to a school if you're still going to have these connections? You got to think from his perspective. You don't want to burn bridges, especially with how big the portal is now. But I will say, this whole stuff about there's a date in mind. Next week he's supposed to flip. He was a silent flip. All these stuff. That all started from rumors. There is nothing that I've talked to. I have family connections to the Notre Dame Athletic Center. I've talked to them. There is no indication that Deuce has given a silent flip or there's any plans to flip. All that I know is that he's talked to Notre Dame and been consistent. I'm completely adamant that he's still committed. I think what he does, John, is I think this goes into this.
Whoa, that is not the common narrative. You realize how against the grain you're going. You're really going off you're off the common knowledge road here. I'm just telling you, you might be right. And if you are, everybody's going to be thrilled, but you are really going against the grain here on this one compared to everything I've heard and what people are saying.
I think this goes into I think this goes to the fall. I think, could we see him? The question is, does this go into the fall as him as a decommitment or as a Notre Dame commitment with air quotes?
Yeah.
That's the biggest question for me. But I think this goes into the fall, and I think he takes game visits to each Notre Dame, Auburn, and Ole Miss, and it goes from there, which I honestly think is the best for Notre Dame because I don't think Auburn's going to be very good. I think the biggest challenger there would probably be Ole Miss because they're supposed to be good. But I think Deuce is going to want to see it on the field for himself. And at that point, that's on Marcus Freeman. That's on Mike Denbrock to get that offense rolling and prove to him that everything's the place for him.
You know what? That's the next step of this. And on all my stuff I've been writing and thinking about episodes I'm going to do and all this, depending on how this goes, is winning is the best way out of this situation. Beating A&M, running an offense that's more exciting and modern, all that stuff. That's the only other thing you can really do at this point to change some of that. Now, let me ask you this. All I've been hearing about is, Tuesday's the day. Everybody's got Tuesday as some magical day. That has been out. I've gotten 50 text messages saying Tuesday's the day that he's going to be out. Everybody get ready for the world to end. That is just the common narrative. I've had 50 different people email, text, DM me that message.
Yeah, and John, you know where that came from? I don't know if you know the original source where that came from. It came from a random person. Because it went around in my Notre Dame group chat from a screenshot somebody took, and because they were all doing the same thing to me, like, hey Ryan, this guy's decommitting, he's flipping, all this stuff on Tuesday, and I looked at it. It's just a screenshot from a guy. It was basically the short story of it. I know a guy who knows a guy who's a friend of a guy who's in the South who told me that Deuce has already said he's going to flip on Tuesday.
Man.
And I'm like, so everybody's flipping out over this, and I didn't think anything of it. And then all of a sudden you see all the other bigger outlets start reporting the same thing. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Because the only person that's reporting it is some random person that says he knows somebody on a message board. I don't put any credit into that, but evidently somebody thinks that that's believable. But I've had people tell me that the Tuesday thing is not real. But I guess we'll find out Tuesday, and we'll find out.
My best contact in the building or near the Goog or whatever you want to call it, he's been in contact with Notre Dame and Freeman. It's not a type of thing where he's like, I'm out of here, you're dead to me, I'm not even like conversing with you. Like, there's been that communication back and forth. And so I don't know what to make of it, but I'm telling you what, man, I pulled in from Notre Dame. I had a great day. I was in a great mood. And it was just a million messages saying, worst case scenario. Like, it was really brutal. And I don't know, man. We're going to have to see how it goes. But this is This is high stakes recruiting, brother. Here, this is SEC high stakes recruiting.
Yep.
Real quick, thank you
dude.
for going contrarian on that. Anything on
Yep.
camp or whatever you want to say to wrap up?
Really quick. So I did, trust me, I was on vacation actually when the Deuce news dropped. I'd be trying to get on vacation, and my phone just kept blowing up from my buddies and stuff. They're like, "Hey, you see the Deuce stuff?" And I was like, "Dude, I can't get away from this. It's Notre Dame recruiting stuff. I just need to turn off my phone." But no, it's fall camp. It's been fun. Interesting thing that I saw was that Jordan Faison's been working at the boundary receiver, which I think is pretty interesting. I thought he was going to be for sure a slot. I guess that speaks volumes to what the coaching staff thinks of Faison.
Yeah.
Going in this year. So I'm excited to see the receiver room. That's the main thing. The last few years has been the main thing is the receiver room.
Hey, the good news
we'll see
is
about that.
Here's the good news is you have all this hype, from the people seeing practices and all that. And I haven't had a chance to go back and be able to do that yet myself now that I can kind of do that. But here's the answer to that. You are going to get an answer week 1 of exactly where they are. Can they get behind A&M? Yep. Can they beat A&M to the edge? Or you're going to get some real answers. It's not like you're playing Navy and you're not quite sure where you fall because it's Navy. You're going against some real talent and athletes, and you're going to find out right away if they're capable or not. And I guess the idea with Faison is they don't want to log jam, and they want what they think is their best guys to find a way to get on the field. Isn't that the idea?
Yeah, and you know what? I like it because I think Faison's really, really, really talented. You could argue last year he was our best receiver. I think he was our best receiver when he was healthy. I think if you have Jaden Greathouse healthy, I think he's your best receiver. But Faison, our walk-on receiver, was our best receiver last year. And I like that they're trying to move these guys around to get the best out of them because you're not just sticking to – because my biggest question was you bring in the 3 transfer receivers, who's going to play? What's your rotation going to look like? Who's going to get on the field? How many snaps are these guys going to get? Because you have 9 to 10 guys that could all get on the field.
Yeah.
So how are you going to balance that out? Which is going to still be interesting to see. But yeah, man, I mean, I like the Faison move. I don't know necessarily if he's going to be able to do it because of, how slim he is. But we'll have to see. But yeah, dude, I'm excited for the season to get started. The A&M thing, like you had said, that's going to be the big testing ground for our receivers. According to what I've been told by some A&M fans, the weakness of their defense is their back end, their DBs. So if that's true, Notre Dame should have a field day passing the ball.
Well, let's see it then. And then I'll believe it. This wide receiver hype, I'll believe it. You had a chance week 1. Hey, thanks for coming in here and balancing things out on the ledger. And you're working hard on your content. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, appreciate it, John. As always, man, appreciate you having me on the show, man.
No problem. Have a good weekend. Take care, buddy. Take care, buddy. Pistol Pete. What's going on, brother? Pat, I see you, but you didn't have... Oh, boy. Yeah, you didn't have your camera on. Pete, what's going on? Pat, I'll bring you in here. Let Pete do his intro. What's going on, Pete?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you're in a good mood considering some of the rumors, Pete. Why are you in such a good mood?
Well, hey, I'm on your show, which is great to be, of course.
Well, I appreciate that.
To...
I'll take that, man.
that?
I said I appreciate that. I'll take that, Pete. Here's what I want to know. I want to know your early thought camps and how nervous you are about Deuce being loose.
I'm concerned about Deuce. I mean, as you and a lot of other Irish fans are, I'm with you on that. And like you said, also, the best thing we could do is beat Texas A&M. Start first things first. Let's do that. And
Pete, winning. Listen, there is no substitute for winning, and winning is the tide that rises all ships. The best thing you could do for all of this is go out there and win week 1. It will help everything. It will help recruiting. It'll just help everything. You can't have these recruiting issues if this one happens and then not win against A&M. Then you have no foundation. What is propping up your institution at that point? If you're not landing the top recruits at the top end of your class and then you're losing your biggest game of the year, where are your nuts and bolts?
Yeah, you don't have the foundation you want. So, well, you said all along, this fall camp needs to be, like you said in your show, it needs to be hell. From what you would hear probably more than me, has it been that way?
Well, I think they are easing into it. The first week of camp, and also, Pat, good to have you here. You look tan. Have you been out golfing all day, Pat? You look dark, bro. You look really, really tan.
I mean, obviously, I have been. What else would I be doing with my life?
Yeah, you look really tan. Pete, here's the thing. I mean, it's been really, really hot in South Bend, so you are getting that humidity and all that going. And so I don't know. And the other thing, everybody's mentioning they don't like this offense being described as gritty. I have seen that over and over. They don't like it being called gritty. I'm just telling you guys, whatever Denbrock does, you're going to like it a lot more than whatever we had last year. I just think that's going to be a fact, Pete.
I do too, and it sounds like we're moving the receivers around to where they're getting everybody from cross-trained on different roles to where you could have the best guys on the field at one time and be a defensive nightmare for the other team. Something also with you getting your press pass too and not being able to maybe do your show afterwards, as something I mentioned to you before. Are you able to do a Zoom meeting and ask your questions?
You know what? Probably Nick was in the Zoom meeting last week with Freeman. And so Nick was handling that and he was in there. I don't think he asked anything, or we were just kind of staking it out the first time, but I know that Nick was in there. So that was kind of cool. But that's a good thought on my behalf there, Pete. I appreciate it. I got to tell you, man, there's some anxiety, Pete. You got to win week one, and now there's anxiety about the recruiting, and it's just there's a lot going on. We went from 0 to 100, Pete. We went from middle of the summer, there ain't nothing happening, to full bore. Here we are.
Well, yeah, I mean, win that first week, that helps in a lot of ways. Then you can watch, hopefully, Kelly lose to USC the next day.
That would be ideal.
That would be nice.
That's absolutely what I need to happen. And I'm only going to be interested in that game if we win our game. Pigskin Pete, good to have you here, brother. First guy that ever put me on a YouTube show on video was Pigskin Pete many, many years ago. And I'm indebted to him. I consider him a close friend. He was the first one that brought me on in those early battles of Notre Dame and Clemson. He brought me on first. Thank you.
Well, and thinking about this too, I mean, I plan to not only be at your tailgate, but hopefully the Friday get together when you're in South Bend that weekend.
Hey, I got to I'll break the news now to everybody, man. Open house party Friday night. John's having it at the house in South Bend the week of Miami, Ohio. And I'm just having kind of like an open house, come and go. We're going to have pizza and beer, come and go, stay all not all night. I'm kicking you out. You're not sleeping there. Come and go as you want, have some pizza and beer, whatever. Pat, you could probably stay. I might have a room for you. I don't know. But that's the deal.
I'm good.
We're gonna have the house, and I want people to be able to come and go.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'll bring something along, of course, to contribute to it. And yeah, definitely for anybody out there who's never been to John's tailgate, as I've said before, you're missing a lot. You need to go to one.
It's not boring. It's not boring, Pete. We like to have a good time. We have our whole crew, and we like to have a good time. It's never boring, that's for sure. So thanks for the kind words. Pete, are we overdoing it with the Deuce anxiety or what? Is the Deuce too loose or what?
Well, it's not signing day yet, so we still have reason to be concerned, of course. And it's just we still got a few months to that. So that's, of course, even more reason to be definitely reason to be concerned. But trying to think positive here, you've waited all summer to get to opening game. Ever since the blue gold game was what you can basically call the quiet period, and now we're 4 weeks from the season opener, and then 7 weeks from your tailgate.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time, man. I'm excited to get into the year. This game one is so big for the Freeman era, for him personally, just for the momentum of all this, regardless of the direction of this recruiting. This game is it's just such a big moment. So I don't care whether it's by 1 point or 30. you got to figure out a way to win that ball game. It's just wild, Pete. So there's a lot hanging on the line here. Anything else on your mind, brother? Thanks for the call. Oh, our White Sox are terrible, Pete. Did they lose again tonight and 19 in a row?
18.
They did.
Oh, so it got to 19. That's beautiful. The record's 23. If we're going to be this bad, I want you to beat the record. 19. Beautiful.
Well, thinking on positive for our Irish, I mean, I wasn't always a fan of him, but what was Al Davis's motto? Do you remember what it was?
What? Just lose, baby?
Oh, I can only imagine.
No, for the Irish, just win, baby.
Yeah. Well,
we got to follow that motto for what he had for the Raiders of just win, baby.
Yeah, I don't care if it's 1 or 30. You just got to get that win. Pete, thanks for the call, man. You're helping my energy here with the positive vibes and that's right on the way in. Thanks a lot, Pete. Appreciate you, buddy. I love it. Thanks a lot, man. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Take care, Pete.
Bye.
Oh, what a good guy. He always pumps up our stuff whenever we have an event. Pat, welcome to the program. What's up, buddy?
Hi,
Miss
Johnny. How are you, buddy?
Very, very classy golf polo. I like that outfit. You're looking sharp, brother. I like that a lot.
Morris Country Club.
I didn't know if you were going to make it. You said you didn't think you'd make it till the season started, so I wasn't counting on you.
So there's a slight change in plans this weekend, and the old lady went to the Cubs game and she got a little drunk, and I canceled the plans for this evening. So I just had to bring her some tacos and good to go.
There you go. That works out. So I want to get back to the calls, obviously, Pat, but I want to give you a moment. Give me a brief summary of what you make of the Deuce Night stuff in the beginning of camp, and then we'll get back to the calls.
Camp is what it is. It's practice, right? So we're not going to know anything until they take a snap at Texas A&M. The Deuce Night stuff. What do you expect? This kid is out here putting his name all over Notre Dame, and Notre Dame doesn't get anybody that this kid is sitting there trying to get him to get. So it's, what do you expect? What do you expect? You can't recruit. So, Marcus Freeman is in a position that is, you got to nut up or shut up. I think that's what it is. You got to nut up or shut up. Like you got to win. You got to win. You are not the recruiter you sold yourself as. You're just not. And so if you're going to win at Notre Dame, you have to win. You can't say I'm gonna outwork everybody in the recruiting room. You actually have to win the football games. And I think he's at the point where he has to have a statement game against A&M. It can't be a 3-point win. It's a statement game.
Whew, man. I mean, you really think it's at that level? I just think it's so.
It's not that it's at that level, but it's a national game. It's a national game, and you can't have an August, a July and August like you've had on the recruiting trail, where you're putting up BS marketing that sure, half the fan base. The way I look at it is, it's the same half of the fan base that got hard about anything Brian Kelly did that gets hard about what Marcus Freeman is doing right now with the marketing campaign he's doing. You got to win. This is it's not good. It's not good. The program looked so great 3 months ago with the recruiting. It looks like shit now. You got one avenue left, John. You got one avenue left, and it's winning.
Game.
It's winning.
That game.
It's winning.
Man, it's just it's rough. And I guess the theory was, hire a guy with no experience, but he's brought in here, and the idea was he's an exceptional recruiter. So while he's learning the coaching part, the idea was you're filling the talent with 5 to 7 ranked recruiting classes back to back to back. And if that would have happened, everybody would have been cool with that learning curve because you would have been stacking 5, 6, 7 recruiting classes ranked right there. And you would have been able to stack those while he's learning, and everybody would have understood that.
And don't get me wrong.
You can't not recruit elitely and not win on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
In no man's land.
There's a really fine line here, John. I don't think I do think he's recruited better than his predecessor. I do think he has recruited better.
It's nowhere near the level we all wanted.
But it's not what you expected.
Yeah.
So it's not there. It's not there. You're better, but you're not better.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You can your blue chip rating can go up. You can't put 10 guys on the field against Ohio State.
Yeah.
And so he has to come to a point, and I pray, because I'm a fan of Marcus Freeman. I pray that it's all right. You got Golden and you got Denbrock. Let's there's no excuse now.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for the rest of it. So it's time. It's time. And John, it's not, for me, it's not playoff. It's like playoff or bust. You got to go deep. You can't just be like, all right, we made it to 5th seed, and because Notre Dame sucks, we play at Indy, and then we lose because Notre Dame sucks and we played at Indy. No, you got to win that game. You got to go to the next round. I mean, look, it's his 3rd season. It's his 3rd season. If you're gonna win in Notre Dame, you're gonna do it in your 3rd year.
Here's how it feels to me. Here's when I sum this up into one sentence, here's what it feels like to me. Marcus is getting kind of backed into a corner. That's what it kind of feels like. If that recruiting isn't going to be exactly what we wanted it to be, and you're taking hits there, and that class is starting to unravel a little bit. And again, the Deuce thing is not final. I want to be clear and reiterate that. I don't know if it is or isn't, but it's not a done deal. He's getting backed into a corner where these games are just turning into must wins on must wins on must wins, because it's the only way out when this is how things are starting to turn. He's just getting backed into a corner, man.
It's exactly. That's what it comes down to. It's like, okay, fine. You've done all this work, right? You put yourself into this position. There's only one avenue left. It's winning football games.
Yeah.
All right. So for the drapes, God damn, I hate these drapes. I really hate these drapes. But I'm married to someone. I have to say this.
Get some Notre Dame. Get some Notre Dame.
I can't say this out loud. I really hate the Ducks.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't even see the Ducks on top. Jeez, that's rough.
I pay the bills.
Yeah, that's
she
rough.
controls everything else.
Yeah, that's rough, Pat. All right, I got to get some more calls. They're loading up. That's unbelievable. I didn't even notice the ducks. I thought it was like some tapestry of something. Yeah, exactly. It's duck hunt over there. I love that. Oh, 443. What's going on? Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Kind of.
Hello?
I got you. What's going on?
Kind of. Okay. I got 3 letters for you, John.
What's
they
that?
They are NIL.
Oh, I thought you were going to say SEC. I thought you were going to say SEC. I am told that the NIL is not what is holding Notre Dame back from their recruiting goals.
We got to stop that.
Everybody behind the scenes is telling me if Notre Dame wants a guy to match or pay. So you gotta kind of come at me with different information. Everybody I'm talking to assures me that's not the issue.
The number's there.
Well, I know that Auburn has a war chest, and they ain't afraid to use it, especially for 5-stars.
Okay, but we're not losing to Auburn.
The war chest they're using for Deuce, I don't know. But the thing...
Everybody has a war chest.
Here is... And by the way, congratulations on your SI gig. I forgot to mention it off the jump.
Thank you.
So, I know, like, Auburn has little brother syndrome in relation to Alabama. And they, I think, are under the impression that if they get a 5-star quarterback, that they're going to be able to beat Alabama. And I don't have any skin in that game, but I mean, that could be a factor here. But the most important thing is that we still got CJ Carr. We still got him. And do we think that if this potential Deuce thing happens that CJ might be going? Or do we think that other people in the 25 class will be more affected by that?
There's a good point there.
But
There's
I think
a conversation there.
What you wanted to end up with is a scenario where CJ Carr rises and then Deuce Knight maybe sits a year, and then there's a big high-level competition between those two. And you got a real high-level competition where you're going to be very happy with the result no matter who wins it. And whoever loses it may go transfer out or whatever. But you have multiple guys in the program that you think could play at high level. That would have been the ideal scenario, is those guys compete with a very, very high-level quarterback competition. That's what I wanted.
Absolutely. And you know what? We're gonna go out there, and I have full faith and confidence in this. I have been getting on them beads, like how the radio announcer tells you get on them beads during the game. Well, I've been getting on my beads all summer long. And and I got full faith and confidence that Our Lady is going to lead our football team to turn that midnight yell into a midnight screaming agony in College Station.
Man, I really hope so. I'm not looking forward to the people in the white overalls. I'm really not in the mood for it. I'm really not looking forward to that at all. You got to go win that ball game. And I don't know what's going to happen with this recruiting setup, but I just know the pressure's on Freeman. This is year 3, and you got to go in there and win that game. And it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world. You just got to find a way to win it.
Yeah, I could care less how we win it. I don't care if it's a blocked extra point or a safety or fumble Rooski. I really don't care.
You need to care. You need to care. You need to care how you win it, because it's the image of the football program itself. You need to care.
I'm watching. What's going?
Listen, Pat, I just think you got to get this win and worry about everything else. It doesn't have to be that pretty. You just need to make sure where this program is at and the instability that it's in right now this week. You got to find a way to win that ball game. Even I'm not getting too. You guys are talking about image and all this stuff. I don't think you're in a position to be that picky right now, given where Notre Dame's been at recently and what's going on with the instability.
John,
I don't think you need to be in a pretty contest. You need to go win that
win.
A
win is a win. But do you want to win? Do you want to actually win?
Yeah, I want to win.
But you have to win by stomping on their throat.
Why?
Because you have to.
Why?
You are losing. You are losing in recruiting. You want to turn this bus around?
If you win that football game, you're doing enough to stem the tide.
No, you're not. No, because if you win this football game 37-34, the narrative is you just beat the 10th best team in the SEC by 3 points.
I know. I don't. I just.
That's what it is.
But even if that's the narrative,
what they are.
But even if that's the narrative, that doesn't have anything to do with what it does for your season. That could be the narrative. But even if you win it 37-34, you're on the playoff. You're on an inside playoff track. Whether you win it 37-34 or 35-0 or whatever, you're on the inside playoff track, and that matters more than any Twitter narrative.
You look weak. You
And
look
I
weak.
don't think Texas A&M is the 10th best team in the SEC.
Man.
I think Texas A&M is a lot better than what some people give them credit for.
I mean, hey, I'm not trying to be in here like some loser or whatever. I'm just saying you're in a position where you need to take this win any way you could get it to stabilize the ship. And the better it looks, the better it is for Notre Dame. But I just think you need to, I don't know who you people think Notre Dame is. I don't understand who you think we've been to be picky about going in the SEC and you got to blow out a team week 1. Like, I understand it's easy to type that and be a tough guy. You need to get a win. The bigger it is, the better, but you need to secure a win over anything else. You do. I don't know who you people think we are.
I mean, like I said, I'll take anything.
You gotta. Well, let's leave your dating life out of this. But I'm just saying, you gotta.
I know and camp's going. I mean, I'm loving seeing Jordan's face on out wide on the receivers.
Yeah, get him all.
Loving seeing.
Yeah, get him out there.
I'm loving seeing face on out on the wide receiver core, and it's not like we're having a bad camp. It's like everybody's got a, we beat A&M. We're going to go out there. We're going to roll down all them wins. We're going to beat USC. We're going to beat Atlantic Coast Conference team Stanford. I just grew up a little bit saying that. We're going to go out there. We're going to make the playoff. We're going to win.
Are we?
And we're
Last
going
time we
to
played them at home, they beat
we're going
us.
to show a lot of people up.
I hope so. Thanks, 443. Have a good weekend. Anything on the way out? Thank you.
Oh, I got something on the way out.
Anything on the way out? Yes. SI.com/colleges/Notre Dame.
Thank you.
Is where you can read all of our intrepid radio hosts' wonderful prose.
Thank you very much. I really, I appreciate that. Folks, Saturday Night Live, you never know quite what you're going to get. You never know. It's like, what is it? It's like Tom Hanks sitting on that bench when it's a Saturday night. You never know what you're going to get. Pat, listen, Pat, seriously, dude. Who do you think we are that now Notre Dame is like the standard is going in the SEC and blowing out an SEC team on the road? Where we're at right now, beggars can't be choosers. You just need to get a damn win. I want to blow out. I would love making a statement, but you don't need one. What you need is to make sure you secure a win week 1. If you can prove a point when you're doing it, that's impressive. Go for it. But that's not what you need. You need to secure a win right here. There's so much instability. That win is what you need. If it's impressive, good for us. But you need that win.
Okay. You ready for this? Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it. Just don't say the F word.
Oh, I'll not. I don't do that. John, it's Notre Dame.
Yeah.
This is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
This is for the last 35 years.
Yeah.
This is what we've been waiting for.
To win a game of this stature.
No.
And now you're getting picky about it.
It's not win. It's not win, John. We have not been waiting to win.
You're skipping steps.
We have been waiting to dominate.
No.
Frank Leahy didn't win, John. He dominated.
Yes, he did.
Is this guy the guy or not, John?
But you're skipping steps.
Is he the guy or not?
I don't know yet. You're skipping steps.
What step am I skipping? He's year 3, John.
Wait.
He's year 3.
Wait.
What step am I skipping?
Winning.
Did Lou dominate in year 3? Did Aaron dominate in year 3? Did Frank dominate in year 3? It's year goddamn 3.
Winning big games.
Yes, against a shit team. Texas A&M's a shit team. Don't give me Mike Elko. Who gives a flying F about Mike Elko?
I'm just
telling you. You're full of shit. If you give me Mike Elko's the difference. He's not. It's a shit team. It's always been a shit
Why
team.
are they favored over Notre Dame?
Because Notre Dame shits the bed every time.
Which proves my point that you got to show that you can win this game. You got to win this game.
Proves your point that you've been on Marcus Freeman for the last 4 years.
You got to win this football game.
You got to dominate this football game. You have a narrative to play. It's not just a football game. It's the narrative. Is this program back or not? You don't change the narrative by winning by a couple points against a shit SEC football team.
And no.
You want to play the SEC in the playoffs and win a game? You got to dominate the shit teams in their conference.
But it's yes and no.
This is a shit team in their conference.
But it's
this
yes.
is like Notre Dame versus Texas. I was at both of those games. They barely beat them the one time, and they lost their shit the second time because Notre Dame was shit.
I get what you're saying, but the narrative, here's my position. The narrative angle.
When did you lose your way, John?
The narrative angle is the bonus. The win is the priority.
No, it is not.
The win is the absolute priority. If you prove an exceptional point, that's the bonus kicker. The win is the priority.
John. It is not. What do you look at our schedule, John? What do you win? Well, we're going to be, we're Michigan. We're Michigan. We play a soft schedule this year. We're going to win a title because we play a soft schedule. But then we got to play 4 teams in a playoff.
You need to win this game. You've been drinking all day at the golf course. Now you're all worked up and you're being a tough guy. You need to win.
Don't give me that shit.
You need to win this football game. You need to win this football game. You need to win this football game. I want to prove a point too, but that's not the number one priority. You got to make sure you get this win, Pat.
You are losing the narrative, John.
Why?
You're losing the narrative. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I think Notre Dame's going to dominate Texas A&M. I think Notre Dame is a much better football team.
I hope you're right, but that's not what my eyes are on. You got to secure a win first.
You are losing. You're losing, John. You lost the safety. You lost all the wide receivers. You lost the quarterback. You lost the defensive end 2 years ago. You lost the safety 2 years. You are losing everything.
So
are we making this football program better? Is this football program better than it was when Brian Kelly was the coach?
There is
John, answer that question.
To be determined. I don't know that answer yet.
Okay,
but
John,
are you telling me
if they give up 20, if it's a 34-27 game, is Notre Dame back?
If it's a 34-27 game and Notre Dame wins,
you and I are
both going to be thrilled.
If they beat the 10th best team in the SEC,
I'm gonna be happy as hell. You just need to win that football game.
No, you're not. No, you're not, John.
Yes, I will be
happy as hell. But you know what you're gonna do, John? You're gonna sit there and be like, "How do we give up this many rushing yards? How do we turn the ball over twice?
Not
how do we
game.
give up this many passing yards?"
That's the game
you're going to do.
This is not the game for that. This is too big of a moment to be that nitpicky. You just need to go in there and win, and then everything settles down when you get into Northern Illinois, Purdue, Miami, Ohio.
Oh, it settles down when you get into Northern Illinois?
Yes, you need to get this.
You know what? We play Navy. We played. Who did we play last year? Those first 4 games of the season. Hey, how about we play another HBCU? It settled down then, right? Remember when he almost flipped over the stadium when the kid got his freaking the quarterback got his knee blown out?
You were winning. You were averaging 46 points a game in the first 4 games.
And then we fired our offensive coordinator. Well, we promoted our offensive coordinator outside of the program.
To me, getting this win is such a big deal. I'm not worried about the style point aspect of it at this point in time.
John,
and with this recruiting stuff,
if you want Marcus Freeman to be successful, you need to be worried about the style point because that's all that matters. Because all we said
all that matters.
No, John, when Brian Kelly was fired, all we said was we need to not get blown out anymore like Charlie Weiss did. And what did Brian Kelly do? He gave us a blowout every year. An embarrassing national loss.
Right.
And we got that from Marcus too.
You need to win your biggest games. But I just
need to win all your games. This is Notre Dame.
I
When
just
did it
think,
become 10-2 is okay?
I think we're arguing the same thing, dude. Like, you need to win your biggest game. The biggest knock against Kelly was that he didn't win the biggest games, and now you're saying that that's not even good enough for
The
Marcus.
biggest knock against what's Marcus's knock?
He has not won the big games either. You need to
Hasn't
win the
won the big
biggest games
games,
on your
and he's also
schedule.
lost shitty
He
games.
hasn't beaten Ohio State either
so
chance
what's
he had.
different?
Like, you got to
John,
win
what's
your
different?
biggest games.
What is different, John?
What?
What's different?
I don't get what you're asking. Neither
What
one
is
of them won the biggest games on the
What
schedule.
is
Now we're
different in
getting
the
picky
last
about
3
it.
years, John? What is different in the last 3 years? First 3 years ago,
I don't know
we're
what
still
you're getting
losing
at. What are you
high-profile
getting at?
recruiting battles. We're still losing games we shouldn't lose, and we're still losing on a national stage. What's different?
So you're proving my point then, and then you're skipping a step. You're going from neither one of these guys have won the big games, and you're skipping that step and going right to we need
What's
to be
different?
Alabama blowing everybody out. And I just don't think you need, that's not the necessity week one. You need to wrap up a win, and the better the margin, the better it feels and looks, and the more credit you get nationally. But the priority is you need to win that football game.
Yeah, obviously you need to win that football game, but it's a different game now. It's
If
a
Notre
different
Dame
game.
wins,
You have
if,
to.
if Notre Dame wins this game by 1 point or 20 points, they have the inside track for hosting a playoff game. That is not really going to change. Now, if you want to argue about Twitter and the credit you're going to get on that, fine. But whether we win by 1 or 20,
I'm not even on.
you have the inside track. You have the inside track to hosting a playoff game. If Notre Dame wins this game, whether it be by 1 or 30, you have the inside track to hosting a playoff game.
No,
I
John,
am just worried about doing that before I'm worried about Frank Leahy style points.
You know,
That's my
are
only
reading the
point.
chat.
I don't know why you're jumping my bones about that. That's my
because
point.
I'm reading the chat. And people are saying that I'm missing the point. I don't think anyone's seeing the point. This program is no different. This program is no different. And if we're going to make this program different, something has to change.
Yeah,
The
win your big
recruiting-
games.
John, we still have the 10th to 12th best recruiting class in the country. That's what we're going to end up with. It is no different than Brian Kelly's pinnacle. It's no different.
What does that have to do with my point that you need to win big games? What
You're
does
not
that
winning big games. And
But you're saying
sorry.
we need to
If
blow
I
out the
remember
big
correctly,
games.
John,
What are
I'm
you
sorry.
saying?
I was in Mexico with you in 2012. You and I we talked every day during that season. I remember the Oklahoma win. I remember the USC win. I remember Notre Dame winning big games that year. What was our recruiting like at the end of that season?
So you're saying that this is tied to, now you're changing your argument. Now it's tied to recruiting.
Changing my argument,
No,
John.
yeah, you are, because you
I'm
were talking
the
about,
narrative of the football program. It's not
but you were
championship program.
You were
It's
talking
a winning
about
program. It's not a championship program. And a championship program is an Alabama team that goes in on the Sunday night game, in the first game of the season, and whips on Michigan or whips on Texas or whips on whoever is there, because that's what they do. And that's not what Notre Dame is doing. And I'm saying if Notre Dame ever wants to be a championship football team again, they have to whip the shit out of somebody on national TV. And Clemson 2 years ago, a shitty Clemson team doesn't count for that.
fine, but why can't we agree that that would be great, but securing the win is the absolute priority? I don't know why you're fighting me on that. Like, Pat,
I agree.
Pat, if we win by a field goal and we come on the post-game show after A&M, I'm going to be in such a good mood, dude. I am not going to be mad about that. Like, this is just, it is not,
I know you too well to know that you will not be in a good mood, because you're going to have freaks about the defense. You're going to have freaks about the wide receiver room. You're going to have freaks about
this is a different situation. We're in a different circumstance now. The Freeman is back.
Oh, don't give me that shit, Bob Avelley, for Clemson
tedious.
ranked 4. Clemson was the softest fourth I've ever seen in college football.
That is true. They were begging for a loss. They were leaking oil. They were
Notre Dame
begging
threw like 4 passes the whole game. You
I
can't tell me
believe-
Clemson wasn't soft.
They were 8-0, but they were begging for losses for weeks leading up to Notre Dame. They were.
And then,
really
by the way, that soft Clemson team came back and kicked Notre Dame's ass the next season.
Yeah, but they were leaking oil. That was a week 8-0, about the weakest 8-0 ranked number 4 team there is.
The weakest team.
Pat, I just feel like with this recruiting thing on edge and like where we're at, I just am putting way more priority on securing a win than I am style points. And I don't think that's controversial.
John, I think you're missing the point of if Notre Dame wants to be Notre Dame, if Notre Dame wants to be what they were,
you need to make the playoff.
No. You need to dominate.
You need to make the playoff.
You need to dominate. Lou Holtz was dominating. He was smoking teams. He was blowing them out. You can't have a season of scraping by against lower competition. John, you got to blow them out. You got to make a statement. If you want to get the Keelan Keeleys, if you want to get the Deuce Knights, if you want to get those players, you have to put yourself on the map, because all that's going to happen if you don't win the way those schools win, if you don't win the way Georgia wins, all that's going to happen is everyone's going to say, yeah, they just got lucky. They pulled a Michigan. That's all you're going to get. They pulled a Michigan without the guys sitting there in the
But I don't think that theory's been tested, because we have not been winning the big games to even know what that's like after you do that. Like, you're skipping a couple steps, I feel like.
What step am I, John,
winning big games. Winning big games.
10 years. We had 11 years, 12. How long was Kelly here? 12 years of a guy winning enough. And always saying, I just need another guy. I need another guy.
Oh, Kelly, but he wasn't winning the biggest games on the schedule.
Right.
That's what A&M is.
Exactly.
That's my priority. You got to win the biggest game on the schedule.
You have one game on your schedule. You have one game on your schedule. You can't just win it. Because everyone's going to be like, you just beat the 10th best team in the SEC. Well, the 15th best team in the SEC. Because Texas A&M sucks.
I'm taking crap because people are like, why are you acting like A&M's a good team? I'm asking you why Vegas has them as favorites. If they're so crappy, why
Notre Dame
Vegas have them as favorites?
Because Notre Dame sucks. Notre Dame always sucks. Notre Dame always underperforms. Who's going to bet on Notre Dame? Vegas doesn't have Notre Dame as the dog because Vegas is like, oh, we're against Notre Dame. No, Vegas has Notre Dame as a dog because everyone expects Notre Dame to do what they've always done.
Man.
Underperform.
Listen, I mean, Frank's my guy, 4 years without losing a game.
Frank dominated college football. Yeah. Frank's your guy, John. Frank's your guy. I'm talking to Frank Standard. I'm asking you what happened to your expectation when it comes to what Frank Leahy did.
Man, I am a little surprised that I'm just a little surprised that all you guys are that confident that what has Notre Dame done that makes you all feel like the expectation is to march into A&M and blow those guys out at their place?
John, I think you're.
But where do any Notre Dame people get off expecting that other than in a history book?
No, you're misconstruing the point. I have no expectation that Notre Dame can do that. I'm saying if Marcus Freeman wants to win, and he wants to win at Notre Dame, he wants to win championships at Notre Dame, this is what he has to do.
He has to make the playoff.
He will not host
the home playoff.
He will not right the ship if he's winning by field goals against shit teams. A&M is a shit team.
Oh man, that's just not right. It's not right. If you kick a field goal and win this game and you end up 11-1 or 12-0 and you end up hosting a playoff game
and you end up at 11-1, you're a shit team yourself.
By the time you host that playoff game in late December in South Bend, nobody's going to go, Notre Dame's no good because in week 1 they beat A&M by a field goal at their place. No one's going to say that.
How
Pat.
confident are you that Notre Dame's hosting a playoff game at 11-1?
At 11-1, I think they would be.
You're full of shit. You know it.
I think 11-1. I think 10-2 they may not make the playoff at all. I think 11-1. I think
know you
11-1.
I know you want to take a call. Johnny, I love you. You know I don't want to jump down your throat, but at some point, someone has to bring this back to what is the point of Notre Dame?
I guess.
But I have to give a shout out to Doug Scow, who told me to quit drinking like 7 hours ago to go on the show tonight.
This is very, very situational to me. And this is such a serious situation for where I feel Freeman's at with this shaky recruiting. You just need to get a win. I just need you to make sure you come home on that plane with a win.
See, that's where I don't think, but John, that's the point. I don't think getting a win changes the recruiting.
You're gonna have to do a lot more than
by Texas A&M doesn't change anything. That doesn't get you Deuce Knight. That doesn't get you this 6'8" end from Mississippi or Alabama. It doesn't change anything.
Oh man!
But you go into SEC country and you put your foot on the throat. That might start to change the narrative. But if you're sneaking by, it doesn't change shit. You know that better than anybody.
I prefer your path. I will gladly accept with a smile winning by 3 points or 6 points or 7 points or 10 points on the road in this environment, because it's just this important of a situation for Marcus that he collects a win no matter what it looks like. That I prefer what you're pitching.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
But dude, if they win by a field goal, I'm going to be so happy when we come on here live. I'm going to have a big smile on my face. I am not going to be like, I'm so disappointed in how Notre Dame played. It is just that important that they come home with the win. I'm not getting worried about style points night one. I'm not. You got to get that damn win.
I think in this age,
man,
with the way college football is, you have to worry about everything is about style points. Everything. Because we've already shown we can't recruit quarterbacks. We can't recruit receivers. We can't recruit defensive ends. We can't get these kids. Can't get these kids. And we know it's not money. We know it's not because the coaching staff doesn't work hard enough for them.
Try winning your biggest games. Try that. Try that, Pat.
And then
win your biggest games.
But
you're taking the answer times 10.
Texas A&M
you don't know what it's like if you just win your biggest game.
You're saying I'm missing. Yeah, I'm skipping a step. You're missing the point that Texas A&M is not a big game. It's a shit football team. Their head coach just got fired. 25 kids transferred out. 27 kids transferred in.
Is it the most important game on the
head
schedule
coaches
this
from
year?
Duke.
Is that the most important game on the schedule this year?
Only because it's the first game, and then outside of that, it's USC.
Like, I could argue, let's not do the USC season more. And Rodney will be calling in. He'll be having the shakes. All I'm saying is, I don't have to say that I think they're a great team for it to be the biggest game. Those are not always the same thing to me. The best team on the schedule, like, that is the biggest game to me on this schedule because of all this stuff. And that doesn't mean that I respect their roster like it's the Super Bowl. It means where it's positioned and the situation Notre Dame and Freeman are in, and it's year 3 and you haven't won the biggest game yet. You need that moment. That moment makes it a lot bigger. It's about that moment more than it is how good their roster is. It's about what that moment means. You got to have this win, and I'm way more worried about that than any style point. Harry Leg is a very funny name, by the way. Anyway, all right, I got to check these super chats. Can you catch a breath? Jeez, you're like me over there.
Someone has to be.
I just can't believe all these Notre Dame people. We never win a big game, and now just winning one isn't good enough. You got to blow everybody up. Where do you get off? Isn't there any steps?
Because you're losing.
So the first step is win your biggest games.
You're not with you. So the USC game wasn't a big game. Like, John,
it's a lot less big when you have losses.
What's your comment? What's your comment on Marcus Freeman? What's your comment on how many ranked teams has he beaten in his first 2 years that Brian Kelly has never beaten? Right? What's that stat?
Yeah, he's beaten more of them, but he has
so
not
wait a second.
won.
He's doing it. He's doing it, right?
Won.
He's winning big games. He's beating. He's
No.
beating more
Just beating
teams.
ranked teams is different than winning the biggest games on your schedule. Those are not
Aren't those big
necessarily the same
games?
thing either.
So-
This is the
God.
biggest game on the schedule because it's game one and everything built into it, and the road game, and the map after that gets a lot lighter for Notre Dame to be hosting a playoff game. You just need to worry about winning this stupid game.
You need to do it with style. Because
Okay.
you need to put on the map that Notre Dame is back.
You need to, or you would like to?
No, you need to. He
You don't
can't. Notre Dame, he cannot recruit to Notre Dame. And I'm not saying he can't recruit to Notre Dame because he can't do it. I'm saying he can't recruit to Notre Dame because the negative recruiting on Notre Dame is so big that he's not doing it. Like he's losing.
But
He's
dude,
losing at recruiting. And this
if
is the
you-
guy we
listen.
hired because he's going to outwork everyone at recruiting.
if you end up hosting a playoff game and making a playoff run at Notre Dame this year, Marcus Freeman, no one's going to say in week one they didn't beat A&M enough that I'm not considering going there. Like, that's a crazy narrative. That's a crazy narrative. The priority is hosting a playoff game. No one's going to look back at week one and be like, they didn't win by enough for me to consider going there.
You're conflating an issue. You're conflating the issue, John.
No, I'm not.
Because if you scrape through this season, like Kelly did in 12, if you scrape through the season, barely winning football games, like we were there at Stanford, John. You and I were standing next to each other in the rain.
But doesn't it matter what happens at the end of that? You could scrape by it and make a playoff run, and no one's going to care about the scrape.
A first round
exit.
exit.
Scrape by it and win 3 playoff games, then no one's going to care about the scrape.
Okay, that's fair.
But if you scrape by it and lose round
but you know
one,
what?
then
You know what happens before the playoff games, John? You know what happens before the playoff games? Signing day.
And if you're undefeated, you're going to look pretty good.
Not if you're scraping, because there's going to be other teams undefeated, and Ohio State's going to be sitting there like, hey, we're dominating everyone in the Big Ten. We're dominating everyone in the Big Ten because the Big Ten it's a cheating team and a bunch of losers. We dominate them. Come here, you're going to be in the playoff every year. Don't worry about Notre Dame. They got lucky this year. You can't have that narrative. Take a call.
What a good discussion. Man.
Yeah, you probably had no idea I was coming in hot tonight. And don't give me that shit I've been drinking. That has I did a little bit earlier today, but I had to take care of my wife most of the day.
No, what it is the face. When you get turning colors, it's kind of that's usually the indicator when you're turning the colors. Like Kelly had his purple for a different reason, but when you start turning that red and crank that voice, that's what my indicator usually
the thing that
is.
bothers me is like people like, you know, there's a lot of comments in the chat like after me.
It's a great discussion, though. I love this discussion.
I am the biggest Marcus Freeman fan. I want this guy to succeed more than anyone. But the only way I can see him doing it is changing the narrative. And the only way to change the narrative is to stomp on throats.
Man, I get it.
It's the only way I see it.
I almost at the end of this, and then I do need to get back to the callers. God bless them for holding for all that. I need to timestamp this and cut that up because that's pretty darn dramatic. We need to cut that up. That was a good little thing here. So I'm going to try
for me, right?
I'm going to try and timestamp that. I think, Pat, what it is to me is this is such a unique moment in time for where Notre Dame is and where Freeman is. And I feel like it's so tedious and everything. I don't want to get picky. You need to do the basics first. And it is so important for the Freeman era. If your recruiting's teetering right now, I'm not getting picky. You need to secure this win first and foremost. Every point that it's better a win by makes me feel even better and does all the thing that you're saying. But the absolute priority here is to get a win. Look at this. Pat has standards. Yeah, John has no standards. I made my entire
that's the thing that
Kelly wasn't good enough.
All I'm doing,
those standards.
All I'm doing is applying your standards. That's number one. Number two, what was the other comment? Pat putting unrealistic expectations on Freeman. I'm not putting unrealistic expectations on Freeman. Freeman's in year 3. I am putting the Notre Dame standard on Freeman. Okay. That's all I'm putting. It's a Notre Dame standard. If you're going to be a winning coach at Notre Dame, you do it in year 3. That's standards.
That has nothing. Nothing you just said disagrees with what I've said the last.
No,
half
I know.
hour.
No, I'm responding to a comment that I'm putting unreasonable and
Good,
unrealistic
then we don't have to
expectations
yell
on
at
Notre
him.
Dame. This is a standard. If you are a Notre Dame fan, this is a standard. It's year 3. You win in year 3 or you don't win. That's a standard.
The history suggests that.
Yep.
Man. Oh boy. This is
Aren't you glad I joined?
well, I mean, that's juicy content there, baby. Andrew, do you want to chime in on this? Entertaining night, huh?
Well, just first off, I live in Chicago, and my wife makes me take these calls outside. So I'm not sure if somebody's shooting somebody or firing off fireworks. So I apologize in advance.
Gilmore, where are you at in Chicago?
It's probably both. Where are you at? Are you by the Sox Park? Because then I could take a guess. Where are you?
No, I'm in. I don't. Do you guys know Old Irving Park neighborhood?
Yeah, yeah.
Northwest side?
Really?
Oh,
What's that?
That's where you're at, Old Irving Park?
Yeah, Old Irving Park. Yeah.
Wow.
Andrew, give me this.
Well-
What's the reality of all this, man? With the Deuce stuff, being Pat's conversation, camp. After all this camp, let's not forget we do have camp going on. What do you make of it?
Well, just to, I guess, comment on your guys' discussion. I mean, from a sentiment perspective, I'm with Pat, but from a practicality standpoint, I'm with you, John. I mean, what has Freeman done to deserve to think that we're going to go in and wipe the floor with Texas A&M? I don't care if Texas A&M is a 7-win team, an 8-win team, or I watched the Cover 3 podcast where their beat writers think that this is a potential 10-win team. So we don't know what Texas A&M is going to be. And when Freeman barely by the skin of his teeth beats Mike Elko with Duke's talent, I don't think you can expect to go in there and just whip anybody. So I'll take a win any way we can get it. So I tend to agree with you, John, but I agree with Pat's sentiment. If you want to, like, in year 3, if like you really are trying to say that you're a national championship level team, you should take care of business. But
So Andrew, I kind of feel like we're all right. I feel like I totally want what Pat's saying to be the reality. I want that. What I need is to make sure you get on that plane with a win in your pocket. Like, I have wants and I have needs, and I want what Pat's saying badly, but what I need is getting on that plane 1-0. So I think we're both right, Pat. We both win.
Yeah, I agree. But I did want to comment on Deuce, if you have a minute.
Pat, look at Jay Carr's comment. What a jerk. Read Jay Carr's comments. Go ahead. Andrew.
Can't argue.
Go ahead.
No, I just, I think it's important to talk about the so-called Freeman factor and how I think a lot of the fans and the media have done a real disservice to, like, the reality of college football. And I think that is Marcus Freeman a good recruiter? Yeah, I think he is probably a good recruiter, but I think he's a very good retail recruiter. What I would challenge right now, and I think it's playing out here in the 2025 class, is he's not. I don't see a discerning strategy in the 2025 class. Like Blyberg in the chat, and then Tim Hyde from Blue and Gold have first guessed this thing with Deuce Knight, which is when you go into the Deep South and you start competing for top 100 guys with the SEC, Notre Dame just has never gotten them. And so the idea, the hubris that Marcus Freeman and his team thought they could just go in there and take a guy, I think is really just foolish. It's never happened. And
okay,
I don't understand.
All right, wait.
Why he thinks he's got some magic wand that he's going to make it happen.
Okay, now wait. Yeah. All right, this is tricky, Andrew. I've thought of this a lot. And I thought about this in an article I was getting ready to write if this goes the wrong way on us, actually. So what's the alternative? Is it what we all complain about with Kelly, going with RKGs that aren't going to decommit, but they're also not highly recruited guys that you just know are going to be Notre Dame committed? We all got mad because Kelly wasn't recruiting guys good enough because they were RKGs. That's the other side of the coin. So,
well,
right?
Well, here's my question to you.
How do you thread the needle?
In the last, I don't know, last 10 years, and when you look at the NFL draft and you look at the quarterbacks that go high in the draft or win Heismans and stuff like that, what state are they coming from and what teams are they playing for? I mean, that's an honest question for you. I mean, have you ever thought about that?
Usually down in the South, and Southeast and Texas and a little bit of California, usually.
Nope.
Is it not Florida?
No, you got it. The second part. Almost all those quarterbacks come from the state of California, where I come from, where I grew up, where they produce quarterbacks like it's nobody's business. And you got quarterbacks who aren't staying and going to USC or UCLA or even staying on the West Coast.
So you're saying
anybody wants to play.
Sidestep that SEC fight and everything that goes with that, and you'll have better odds. You'll have better odds in California. I'm telling you what, those odds go up if USC is still going to be like a little unstable, which is. You know what I mean? Then that opens up a lane. I get what you're saying. And they got a lot of Catholic feeder programs out there, don't they?
Go look at the 247 listing of the top California players. You'll see some spread of USC and UCLA, but the top guys in the top 30, they're all leaving the state, including who's the number one player in the state is a quarterback. And he's a true 5-star quarterback, higher rated than Deuce Knight. And guess where he's going? Texas A&M. So it's open season in California, and it was really stupid of Bowden and Freeman to think that you're going to go into Mississippi, the Deep South, where you've never won you have no wins there ever historically, and think that you're going to poach away one of their guys. It's an unwritten pact between those SEC schools. But they're not going to let teams like Notre Dame, teams like USC and Penn State come in. Now, the one exception is Ohio State, but we have no business thinking that we can recruit on Ohio State's level until we start putting results.
All right,
on the
now
field.
let me ask this.
Hold on.
All right, you can't just conceive this out. You have to go and recruit there.
The pot of gold offer. They sent out all these pot of golds to Deep South players. The only, and I think you can fact check me on this, the only pot of gold player that they sent out, maybe they sent it out to Deuce Knight, I don't know, but the only pot of gold guy that they've gotten is Jerome Bettis' kid in the Deep South. That shows you don't recruit there. You're wasting your time.
Pat, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying that just because you don't have success in the South, you cannot not recruit the South. You have to go. If that's where the talent is at, that's where you have to go and do it. But if you're going to go, you can't miss. You got to get the guy.
Well, I guess my question to you, Pat, is how many guys from the Deep South did Michigan have last year or Washington? How many guys?
But wait,
you can win by not recruiting the Deep South.
All right, now wait. I want to
recruiting ground. Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida and Georgia. That's the most That's the most fertile recruiting ground in the country. You cannot turn a blind eye to that when you're Notre Dame.
Now, wait, let me approach this from a little different angle.
Why would you spin your wheels and spend all your resources on guys you're not going to end up getting?
But now, wait, okay, I'll answer that. Do you want an answer to that?
Them is nice, but you're not going to get them. Yeah.
Here's my pushback to this. I understand philosophically and practically what you're getting at. In theory, I totally understand it.
What do you mean in theory? It's in real life. How many guys have Notre Dame landed in the Deep South?
But here's my response.
It's not a theory. It's real life.
But here's my response. So then you find a kid you're interested in the South, and he shows a lot of interest in you, and he's visiting you all the time, and then he commits to you. Are you just supposed to be like, we don't land you, so we're not going to pursue that? Like, once you engage with him and it's going well and he wants to commit to you, are you supposed to be so jaded you're like, no? Like, that's the part that I'm struggling with your theory is this was so good for so long. Like, the egg already hatched, but like you had that relation where you're just supposed to like turn it down. You're saying to not even start it. I'm saying once you start it and it goes good and he wants to commit to you, are you
I'm
just supposed
saying
to be like,
again,
I'm afraid we're going to lose this at the end. We don't want you.
right from our argument, John. It's about changing the narrative. You got to change the narrative, and you're going to change. If you're going to change the narrative, you got to get those players.
But so Andrew, you just don't want him to even start that at all. But my argument is once you start it and it goes good.
It's dumb. John, if you like, so people are saying in the chat, oh, we've got Dion Colby from the South.
That's not what this is. That's not what this. These are different. This is different.
Program changing guys.
Yeah, this is different.
Is a program changing guy.
I agree with you. That's apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. I agree with you.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, if you need understanding that a quarterback is a program changing person, okay, and you have one guy in the history of Notre Dame that you got from Mississippi was the dude in the 90s, black guy, a really decent quarterback. It was during the Bob Davie era. That was the only time you ever got somebody in the Deep South to be your quarterback.
Who, Jarius Jackson? Who are we talking about?
Yeah, Jarius Jackson. Don't waste your time down there. Like what I'm saying, and I've heard Tim Hyde talk about this, is look at dudes like C.J. Stroud, the kid who got picked number 1 overall, who went to Alabama, the number 1 recruit in California right now. They all are down to leave the state of California. If you're going to spin your wheels and try to be a big boy recruiter like you guys want, you don't want to settle for dudes, then don't waste your ammunition on trying to get a guy from the Deep South at a public school. Go to California, because like example after example after example, those guys leave California and are willing to go anywhere. So stop spinning your wheels in Mississippi. You're not going to land those dudes. I'm sorry.
Man.
I think it's a fact.
All right. So you're arguing not even to start that to begin with. And I'm kind of thinking once you...
It's strategic. It's strategic. It's a bad strategy.
Okay, so then here's the question. Who knows the history of how there became a spark of interest between the Notre Dame program and Deuce to begin with? I'm wondering what that connective tissue was that even started that relationship.
Freeman's a good retail. He's a good retail recruiter. You have to say, hey, when people hang out with Freeman, they like him, and I think when Freeman finishes number 2, he probably keeps in contact with them and texts them. He does all the right things, but the wrong thing is to even really try to pursue those. Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, like those places. Like if you're top 100 recruit, you might like the fact that you got Notre Dame talking to you, but at the end of the day, the SEC has an unwritten pact with each other. They're not going to let USC and Notre Dame come in there and steal their guys away. And don't take my word for it. Look at what's going on with Lincoln Riley. His 3 of his 4 top guys were all Southern dudes. They're all decommitting. He's still holding on to that one quarterback who's down in Georgia, but there's signs that he's going to decommit. So it's extremely tough sledding in the SEC country to steal one of their players away. Whereas you can go to California, where it has just as many blue chip guys, and those guys will go anywhere. So if I was Chad Bowden, I would have an apartment in Los Angeles, and I'd be recruiting the state of California. I would be not wasting my time down south. That's just my opinion, and it's a strategic thing. And I hope that Freeman learns from that.
So you think it's over? Like a lot of people don't think it's over with Deuce, and another percentage, another.
Did you read Will Fong's article? I mean, I don't know what message boards you belong to, but Will Fong just put out an article. He all but said it's over, and in fact, I'm not even sure if Notre Dame is number 2 at this point. It's between Auburn and Ole Miss, and and they're literally Deuce Knight's camp is leaking out saying they didn't want him to go to Notre Dame in the first place. I think Deuce Knight did like Notre Dame. His family didn't. So it's like it's over, dude. Like it's over. To start, I think we gotta start moving on. I mean, like I'm happy to talk about this season, but if we want to talk about recruiting, it's over with Deuce.
All right, let me switch. Let me ask you this on the way out. Thanks for your patience and ducking the strays on the patio there to talk to us. Really appreciate that. Let me. I still hear it. I think it's fireworks. I hope I could kind of hear it. Let me ask you. Yeah, you think it is, till it isn't. Let me ask you this. All right. The issue is it's kind of becoming a trend with the top end of Freeman classes that they're verbals and they're all in and they love it right up until the minute where they don't. That is what's bothering me, is that this is an ongoing trend regardless of position almost with the top end guys in these classes. Andrew, how do you prevent that? Like the bigger picture of like Keeley and Bowen and this. And do you know how many people told me Dante Moore is a silent, don't worry about it, John? He's a silent Notre Dame commit.
Exactly.
But like, how do you avoid this larger picture trend of getting your legs chopped out at the top end of every class? That is a momentum killer, and it's totally unsustainable in terms of momentum and practically building a great roster. How do you overcome that trend?
Well, let me back up. Let me back up a little bit here. And number one, these people in the chat, dude, it's just so funny. You know, they say I'm wrong, and it's like, just name any Deep South recruit that like was really notable in a big changing recruit that came up north to Notre Dame. You know, the only person up north who gets Deep South recruits sometimes is Ohio State. That's it. And then to act like Freeman's going to be on an Ohio State level, I think is totally ridiculous. And Osbury is not one of them. He's in his second year and he's not even.
Man, but what if you said not even? But what if you said not even trying it is a loser's mentality too? Like, just accept it, take the ball, and go home. Like,
it's not a loser's mentality. It was Michigan a loser's mentality by not recruiting the Deep South and getting dudes in California? I mean, is that a loser's mentality? Absolutely not. You got to go where you can get guys. And what I'm saying is there's enough good players outside of that area to be competitive against them. And then, you know what? You win a national championship and you get gravitas. Maybe you can go in there. Remember, Pete Carroll went in and started getting dudes from the South.
Well, I wonder,
Arkansas
maybe this, Andrew, maybe this is a big testing ground where if you do not land Deuce, it'll be interesting to see if they shift with their initial offer list and on the pod or whatever, if they shift philosophically and shifts geographically some of this or change, or does it still just come down to the individual relationships with some of these kids in these schools and how they feel about it? I don't know.
They have so much. You have to understand, and if I see people like, this is what also pisses me off about Notre Dame fans. Instead of getting mad at Freeman and Bowden for wasting your time with these with certain recruits, they'll try to like say, "Oh, we didn't need him anyway. Like, he stunk." Like you see this all the time. Like, I even saw like some publications try to say that they didn't want to get that guy Hines, wide receiver from Texas, who ended up committing to USC. And it's like they always bash recruits after they don't pick Notre Dame. It's silly. Who is Notre Dame
to be picky about wide receivers at this point? Let's be real.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so what all I'm saying is strategy matters. And I think that and you know what? I'm just going to come out and say it. And I think Goldby has insinuated this. Freeman sided with on the wide receiver front. I'm talking. Freeman sided with Parker over Stuckey, and that really has killed wide receiver recruiting because the Golden Boy Chad Bowden didn't have any wide receivers lined up for Mike Brown to go out and recruit. So Mike Brown had to create his own wide receiver list, and that's why we're in this mess. If Chad Bowden was such this dynamic general manager like they gave him, why didn't he have 10 guys for them to recruit right away when you hire the new guy? Because he's not that dynamic, and I think that was a big mistake to give that guy some sort of massive extension. And so I'll just end on this, that Freeman is a good recruiter, but you can't wave a magic wand in recruiting. I think to your point, John, you got to go out and win games, and I think that will help out. But this idea that just because he's a good-looking dude and he's a smooth talker, that Notre Dame's going to just step up their recruiting is ridiculous. There are decades and decades of proof that does not happen. And I think that people don't want to hear this because they hate Brian Kelly so much. But Brian Kelly did have a strategy. He let Mike Elston and other dudes do the recruiting, and then he had a really good development program. Did he develop quarterbacks? No, he didn't. But he developed all these other dudes, and that's why there's so many guys in the NFL that went to Notre Dame. So there's something to be said. You know, to just dismiss Brian Kelly as being lazy and not doing his job is wrong. he decided that, hey, I can't get those guys, and so I'm going to do a development program. So there's something to be said about that, and I think that Freeman's finding out right now how hard it is to recruit to Notre Dame.
Oh boy, man, Andrew, thanks for waiting and being outside and doing all that to do that. I appreciate it, man. Have a good rest of the weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Yeah.
Pat, what's your response?
Typical Northsider. No, come on. Let's be serious. Oh, Brian Kelly had a plan. He's going to let everyone else do the recruiting, and he's going to assign mediocre classes, and we're going to win 10 games every year. Come on. Like, really?
Oh.
We're going to have that argument again?
Man, it's
Brian Kelly's gone, not because he wanted to leave. Like, when are people going to realize this? Brian Kelly is gone not because he wanted to leave Notre Dame. Brian Kelly is gone because Notre Dame said, we're done. We've given you a stadium. We've given you a practice facility. We've given you the training table. We've given you and all your citizens a ton of money. What did he win? Nothing. Yeah, he wanted to leave, Andrew, because Notre Dame told him to leave. He wanted a contract extension. This is well known. He wanted another extension before that season started, and Notre Dame wouldn't give it to him because they said, you got to win something, man. We're tired of 10 wins.
Oh, boy. I'm not making this about I don't want to make this about Kelly at the end.
No, but you can't go out there saying that Brian Kelly was a good recruiter when the guy played golf. Shit, I'd be the best goddamn recruiter in the country if that makes you a good recruiter.
He did play a lot of golf. All right, everybody. That's pretty much going to do it. I got to say, I really got to apologize. I got to apologize. We did our debate, and it killed a lot of the call time.
Oh. Yeah.
But when you get into something that hot, you got to kind of let it ride, and you had to let it ride. And so I got to say, I do feel bad. There was a lot of callers on hold. I will say this, though. Everybody on hold is a repeat caller. So I got anybody on that hasn't called before or doesn't have a history. Everybody that was on hold has a lot of call log history. So it's not like they've never gotten a chance on the air here. And I do want to say I do feel bad, but when you get into something that hot, you got to kind of have an obligation to ride it out. And when it's coming from a genuine place, you got to do that. And so I want to be clear. I do avoid Commander. I don't know what you're talking about. Avoid all my questions about camp and Freeman's comments. Like what? Sorry, I'm trying to do 6 things at once, man. I got to manage the super chats, talk on my own, have a conversation with Pat, manage the callers. I can't do 10 things at once, bro. When we have almost 200 people, the chats fly by. I can't do 20 things in that minutia, man. I have no idea what you're talking about. So I do that we missed those callers, but we got into it. So I don't know.
That's why you wanted me to join tonight, right? Just to stir the pot.
Oh, it's just a pleasant surprise because I didn't think you'd be back till the season. So I guess we got to thank Lauren for getting over drinking at the Cubs game because it ruined.
Well, typical Cubs fan goes to the game, doesn't watch any of it.
Yeah, it was a bachelorette party. There was only 80 of them at the ballpark today. Oh, man. Dude, I have nothing against the callers. I love the callers. It's just hard to navigate and balance all this stuff. I'm sorry, you guys. I try my best. It's really hard.
And John had no idea I was going to come in hot at him.
I had no idea he was going to come in hot.
I texted you about like 6 o'clock, said send me the link.
And the other thing is, I mean, it would help if it was like a real radio show where you had a call screener and they're making sure what the guy's point is and they're telling them you got 3 minutes to make the point.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Yeah, dude, you just take them and run with them. You don't know what you're going to get. But new wine and cheese, John. Yeah, now I'm showboating. I'm too good for everybody. I see how it is.
Big old SI John. Sports Illustrated John. That's what we're going to change the show. Sports Illustrated John. He's big Notre Dame media now.
Dude, I'm not trying to big time anybody. If I was, I wouldn't be sitting here doing this in my basement. If I was,
no, John, you're on the inside, so you got to write nothing but fluff pieces to keep your access, right?
dude, I'm the most outside inside guy that they have around there. Let me tell you that.
J Card, John's Legacy Media. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny. The guy that made his bones slamming on a cemetery desk is Legacy Media. That's how it all
No,
started.
you guys got to go back like old school. Go back to the
that's
old
funny.
school shows when it was just a recording.
That's
You could
so
hear
funny.
you could hear John slamming the desk.
That's the only thing anybody remembers is that noise of me punching the desk. And then when customers would call and I'd go, who in the hell's calling my work phone during this show? How dare you need to bury your mom during this Kelly rant?
How dare you die?
I would be banging on that desk waiting for everybody to leave. You, Kelly, you lost to Duke. How that could be called Legacy Media is hilarious, man. I'm telling you. Oh, boy.
No,
But
John,
it was a pleasant surprise.
But John, you're big time now. You're big time. You're Sports Illustrated. You know, you slayed a dragon. We won't go into details, but you slayed a dragon, and you're big time now.
Just glad to I don't know.
Sports Illustrated is happy to have a good person carrying their mantle.
It was I don't know, man. It's just a good energy. We got a good group. It's a good energy.
You're gonna get an email on that one.
We got a good blend. Always Irish football phone in the works. Yeah, call me up. So I don't know. Thanks everybody for being here. Pat, pleasant surprise. I wasn't counting on you tonight. It was good to have you in here. And for once, it was good that your blood pressure was higher than mine. Although
the last time that happened, I went viral, and
was it Clemson? Was it after Clemson? Yeah, I was gonna say. Although you've done it before, and it was Clemson, that's for sure.
Yeah, my mother did not appreciate that.
But all right, everybody, that's gonna be it. Thank you for the chats. Thanks for all the kind words the last week. And
no shots at anybody. There's no shots at anybody except for
yeah. Dude, everybody does a good job. Everybody tries hard in this niche. It's a lot of work. Everybody puts in a lot of time. So thanks everybody for the kind words, the super chats, Pat for being here, all the callers, everybody waiting.
Johnny, I didn't get to say, hold on, one last thing. I didn't get to say it, but congratulations, brother. You deserve everything you've earned. This platform is fantastic, and I am proud of you, and I'm happy for you.
I appreciate that a lot. Hey, the one thing nobody could say I was handed this. It's been an 8-year grind up the ladder here to relevancy in this niche.
This has been like a 27-year grind.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, of my hairline receding backwards. But all right, everybody, get a good night's sleep. Have a good weekend. Football's coming soon. That was a juicy show. Everybody have a good one. Thanks for being here.